Alright, this is Andrew Jolly with Jota Home Inspections. We're here today at 946 Crandall Ave in Salt Lake City doing a sewer scope. We've got the camera pushed all the way out to the city line. This is where it drops into the city line down below. You might be able to see some water running from neighboring properties. I've been running water, and so that's why you see the running water on the screen right now. But we're going to pull it back and record it and see what else we find. So 122 feet out, it's about average. I'm going through the roof stack today. Average line's about 100 feet out or so. This looks like probably transite pipe, which is a cement asbestos. Transite is usually kind of like a white color like this. Well, actually, right here you can see a little more of a red hue, so that is likely clay. Clay can be fine to have. One of the issues that it does have is that it has very small sections, 3 to 4 foot sections. That's why we keep seeing all these joints. And those can settle over time, and so you can get little offsets, and those offsets can create blockages. Or you can get little sections that settle, and then you can get flat spots where water will build up and waste has to kind of float up before it'll drain properly. So far I'm not seeing any standing water or offsets, but right here on the screen you are seeing some roots. I'd recommend having those roots cleaned out. That's something that can create a blockage. Already it's right on the bottom of the line, and so as waste comes down it can get caught on that. A little bit of running water. Looks like a toilet got flushed. There's some more roots. Again, something that you want to have cleaned out. I generally recommend hydrojetting. Hydrojetting will blast out all the roots as opposed to a cable, which will generally just punch a hole through them. Cabling is really good to unclog. I'm recording. Cabling is really good at unclogging blockages because it'll punch through it, but hydrojet will blast everything out completely. And then also they'll generally do a camera for you to prove that everything's gotten out. Yeah, like this area you're getting a lot of roots coming through. It's kind of turning into a mesh. Sometimes roots are huge root balls, other times it's more of a mesh like this. Not that necessarily either one of them is better to have, but yeah, I definitely think this is the clay. I've been able to see a lot more of that red hue. The grade looks good. I'm not seeing any areas with standing water. I haven't seen any offsets. This is cast iron now. The issue with cast iron is it'll get very rusty over time and get sharp edges, and that can catch on debris, which can create a blockage. It also starts to get very thin over time and will eventually need to be replaced. Being built in the 30s, I've definitely seen a lot of houses that have already had to have it replaced by this point. This looks like it's performing well, though. This is pretty smooth. Actually very smooth for being cast iron. It's possible that it's been cleaned before. Now we're coming back up the roof vent. So just to recap, you have cast iron and clay. You have a lot of roots. I'd recommend having those cleaned out now. because that can create a blockage if you ignore them. Once you have roots, you're always going to have roots. It's something that you need to maintain over time by having them cleaned out every so often. Every house is different. Sometimes you have to do it every 6 months, sometimes every couple years. Now we're back on the roof. So I'm going to end this recording now.